Hi yogis, my name is Therese, yoga teacher for the JCC. So happy you're all here today to work with me on hips and shoulders. So we'll do a short, relatively short series on hips and shoulders. Take what you like, leave the rest behind, and notice that maybe when you're at home doing this virtually, you'll be able to come a little bit deeper into shapes. If you like a certain shape, you may want to pause your video, stay in that shape, and really open up the hips to the best degree that you can. We'll kind of go through it a little bit faster just because it is on a video, and then you can pause anytime you want and really back it up if you need to hear the directions again. It's all going to be perfect for you. So take the time. Take your deep breaths in and out and enjoy the next part of your day with this series. So I have asked for you to bring either 2 blocks or 2 books that are about this height to your mat. If you need anything for your knees, bring a towel or a blanket, and maybe even bring a strap, because we might be doing something that you would prefer to use. It can be a necktie if you don't have a strap, but that's great too. So I will be pulling my glasses on and off because I have a lot of fun stuff to tell you that I can't read on this paper without my glasses. So basically we're going to start in one of 2 shapes, either a seated Baddha Konasana, which looks like this, where 2 soles of the feet together and 2 knees are out wide. If ever you need a little bit of support, you have your blocks to put under your knees. If you would prefer, because you have really tight hips, which can be tough to sit in that shape, you probably want to take this onto your back and do Baddha Konasana with those soles together and knees wide. Again, use the blocks if necessary. So with that idea in mind, pick whichever shape works for you and start to come into your breath. Because triggering your response into breath is so superior in how you feel when you connect with your breath. So as you work into the shape, you're just softening, either in that reclined cobbler pose or you're in a seated cobbler pose. And some shapes will work the hips asymmetrically. This shape works the hips symmetrically. But as I said, if you have a very tight set of hips and you live kind of in a small body here, you want to open up. So whatever is the best for you to open up. Breathe in, breathe out, close your eyes. We always cultivate a mantra for the work. So if you cultivate a mantra for your practice, you've got a positive intentionality of where to spend your time inside. It's in a good place. We follow the breath in, and at some point, maybe you're able to take that breath in a little bit deeper. Maybe the belly will rise a little bit more. Maybe the ribs can expand or the collarbones can lift. So I like to use my thumbs if I'm vertical and place them across the ball joints of my feet and glue the outer seams of my feet together, and I get super tall here. If you are on the floor and laying on your back, you just rest your arms by your sides. We'll all turn our head to the right side, look over the shoulder. We inhale back to center. We turn left. Inhale back to center. Chin drops to chest and shake your head out. And back to center. One thing I would recommend, which I forgot to say in the beginning, is to have done some type of exercise today to warm yourself up so that you're able to work right into specific poses. So we'll stay in Baddha Konasana. So if you're on your back, your arms are also coming Sawaro, but the backs of your arms will be lying on the mat. If you are on the mat, your elbow tips will stay on the ground. As we bring those arms all the way into a 90-degree movement. So it looks such like this while you're seated. If you are lying and doing it, you have your elbows out wide to the sides and your elbows stay on the ground as you rotate back and forth. You keep that 90 degrees. You may not be able to touch all the way to the floor. Never push, never struggle. So I'm going to come back up seated, just a couple more rotations. So notice the ball and socket movement that's happening with your arms. Right at the shoulder joint, it's moving around in a ball inside that socket. Come back into center with your palms and rest here. Breathe in, breathe out. If you'd like to stay seated, please do so. We'll take the right leg in front of, on top of the left, so that you're now in what we call cow face legs or Gomukhasana. Again, if you're on your back, stay on your back and just cross those legs over, right over the left thigh. Now, many of us can grab the closer foot. Many of us cannot reach the foot that's further away. Your right foot will be more easily grabbed with your left hand than your left foot will be grabbed with your right. That may be a good time for the strap. If you're vertical, it's probably easier to grab the feet, but it's a tougher shape when you're upright. So choose what's good for you. You want to feel the opening of that right hip. If you can only grab one leg, grab the leg, the right leg with the left hand and start to pull. If you're on your back, pull that leg towards you. You will start to feel it in the hip. If you're seated, you can take both legs wide to the sides and breathe in, breathe out. I'm still feeling this nicely through the hip. If you're on your back, just hold where you're at. Start to stretch the two legs out wider if you're on your back, if you've got a strap or a full grip around both feet. Otherwise, you're just pulling the right leg towards you. If you're seated, two arms will come to the sky. You'll lengthen out through the palms, interlace the fingers, pointer will release. You lengthen out of the waist and use your thigh crease to hip hinge forward, maybe coming down into a folded position and allowing your breath to guide you through this as your hips open up a little bit deeper. Breathe in, breathe out. Soften your breath. Soften your gaze. Your closed eyes, you're looking from the inside out. Every breath is a gift, and let it happen. If you are folded, let's lift that up. The core engages all the way back up. Hands will drop into heart, transitioning beautifully. Then we transition back to the back of our mat. Grab your feet and let's roll all the way back. We'll meet our friends who are on their backs, and everybody's going to open to a happy baby. So widen out those legs. Take a hold of either the outer blades of the feet with all the four fingers on each foot, grabbing there. And then, if you want, you can be at the great toes. If feet are too far away, head into the ankle area or the calf muscles. Notice that we want to pull that navel into the spine and push that tail forward. Drop the shoulders and rock your baby side to side and massage it out. So this is a really nice hip opener as well. The Baddha Konasana helped us open our inner thighs, our adductors, because they are very tight muscles for most people. And when you have that feeling of that tightness here, of course it's going to transfer into the hips. So stretch it out here. Breathe in, breathe out. And then pull the legs together. Everybody's on their back. Hands will come back into behind the legs to the hamstrings. If you choose to roll up, you can bring your nose up towards your knees, soften your shoulders, Engage your core to transfer your weight up to a baby boat pose. Just for when you transition, you always want to have a nice fluid movement. So we'll sweep our legs behind us now. And this may be where you want to use your blanket under the knees or a towel under the knees. And we're in table position, which allows you to stack from shoulder, elbow to wrist with palms flat, fingers wide, the right hand and the left hand looking the same. And let's have those hips and knees be in a straight line as well. So you've got this nice, beautiful table position. Let's take our left leg out to the side. So with that left leg, notice my sole of my foot is down and the outer blade is also down on the ground. The leg is directly off of my hip. So we're going to open up into that hip while we open up into the shoulder. So let's invite that left arm to lift all the way up, stretch it up. Bring that upturned palm underneath your right arm. Start with your forehead down on the mat. Stretch your right arm long as your left arm wiggles a little bit more underneath you. This may be enough for some of you. Some of you might be able to turn your head to the side and rest on the left side of your head. Notice that we've got shoulder work and hip work at the same time. Pushing those hips back, breathing in. With our right arm lengthened out in front of us, we've got a nice stretch for that right side body as well. So this is beautiful work for both the hip and the shoulder. Any variation, if you would rather have your leg behind you instead of out to the side, it can be behind you as well. I should say back to position of the table, meaning behind you, and you would be in this position. But actually, this one lengthening out is super nice for the stretch of the hip. All righty, we're going to bring it back and take it to side 2. So I'm going to turn around the other way so that you can see my right leg stretch out. We go back to table, hands and knees. We have that nice long stretch of the crown of the head forward as we stretch the right leg out. Your outer blade is on the mat, or I should say on the floor, and your sole is also on the floor. We'll bring that right arm up to the sky, reach up, lengthen, stretch it out, guide it underneath that left arm. The palm is turned up. Remember to lengthen the right arm, start to move it out in front. Forehead first down to the mat, and see how that feels. Kind of snuggle that shoulder on the right underneath you. Maybe turning your head to the right side for a little bit more neck stretch. So find this long reach of left arm, right leg, breathing slow and easy. And notice if you can be calm in your breath here. That's part of the practice. That's the biggest part of the practice, is how you are handling the breath. So slow breath in, slow breath out. Everybody just enjoys a nice, beautiful, calm breath. One more time. And then as we start to unwind from this shape, come back into your table position, hands and knees. So I hope you felt a good stretch in your shoulder as well as in your hip on that one, because your next shape is working a little bit more into strengthening of the hip. So we're going to lie on our side. So bring yourself onto your left side, long on your mat, stacking your legs right on top of each other. Notice my arm is down in a 90 degrees. I can also be resting, if I cared to, with my head in my hand and my elbow tipped down. I find much more stability when I am at this angle and lifting up out of this angle. So don't sink, lift up. You've got a flex of both of those sets of toes down there. Flex means pull it towards the shin. Your right hand is just going to rest comfortably in front of you. And as you slowly lift this right leg up, then you slowly lower it down. And I can tell you, you're going to feel this. Be very mindful. You're working into the medius muscle, glute med. We take it up, we take it down. We're working on 10 of these. So this is our third one. And if that is enough for you, just take a rest or a pause of your video. This will be our fourth one. We'll do 10. This is 5. Keep it slow, keep it steady. So the work is being done instead of momentum. There's 6. Take it 7. Keep that outer blade lifting on that leg as it goes up, outer blade of the foot, inner blade on the way down. I think that's 7. I forget where I'm at. 8. What the heck if we do one more, right? 9. Okay, they're really very tiring, right? And 10. Good work. You can roll to the other side, flipping over if you want. I'm going to keep facing you, so I'm going to rotate my body to the other side. However you want to get to your right side. Choose again to flatten the palm. Have a nice line angled here. Always stacking your bones because that's where your body likes to work. Again, stack long here, rolling the hip a tad forward, flexing the toes, and using that top left arm to rest on the mat as we lift up here. We've got 1. We're bringing the outer blade up, the inner blade down. We've got 2. Glute medius is the area of the body that's a muscle that connects from your iliac crest. This is 3. Down to your top of your femur there. This is 4. Keep controlled on the way down as well. And when you get this area, this is 5, you've got to strengthen it. Your stability depends on it. 6, and I'm talking stability even for walking. 7, you want to keep strengthened muscles that are the big activators. 8, we got 9. Are you still smiling? It makes it easier. Remember, it's about attitude. Are you breathing? And 10. Nice. How do you feel? You can bring yourself onto your back for a moment here. Pull those knees into your chest and just spin the knees in a circle, either holding them or not holding them. Fingers can be on top of the knees, guiding them around, or just turn the palms up and arms long by your side. Squeeze those knees together, guide them around each way. Just kind of massage everything out, because our next one is another strengthener, and it's really a good one to kind of show you where you're at in your hips. So we're going to roll up to that baby boat again for our transition. Chin is into the chest, elbows are soft, nose is moving toward the knee, a gentle lift, and we find that baby boat. Alrighty, so this one you do need either your one block or you need your book. So I want to have you put the block on the mat. Now, if you've got really long feet, you probably want to put your 2 together. I don't have such long feet, so I'm just going to use one block. Place it right somewhere that is either, if you feel a little bit uncertain about your balance, you may want to place it closer to a wall. If you are willing to give it a try without the wall, try to place your block close to a mirror so that you can see yourself in the mirror. And as you put your foot on the block, notice I'm on the low edge of the block. I've put my left leg up on the block. I'm on my right toes here. When I place my hands to my hips, you try to feel that you are really centered with hips level. So this standing left leg is going to do a lot of work when I pull my toes of my right foot to my shin. And I just stand here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can tap down, take a moment here, because you don't want the hips wonky, right and left. We want to lengthen and find the equality of levelness here. So that was just a rest there. Bend into the knee if you want. And we're coming back up. So come up onto those right toes again. Drop your shoulders. Lift through your pelvic bowl. Lift your abdominals. Flex those right toes towards the shin. And you have that right foot off the ground for another 10 seconds. Slow, easy breathing. Shoulders hopefully are level. Little quivers, okay, we got this. And the foot comes down and we bend into the knee and we'll switch sides. So now the right foot's going to be on the block. Left foot starts on the floor, the knee bend in the standing right leg. Then come up onto the toes of the left foot. Start to level those hips out, and then we stretch and lengthen, kicking that left heel towards the ground as we pull those right toes towards the shin. And we hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Soften back down. Drop your foot for a moment. Bend into your knee. And then we'll do it again. Come onto the toes of the left foot. Hands to the hips, shoulders back, zipping up through pelvic bowl. We flex and we hold. We energize through that standing right leg because that's your stabilizer right here. This really does help build bone density as well for anybody who feels like, if they've gotten any news back from their scans that says they have osteopenia or osteoporosis, this is going to help build bone density. All righty, it's time to put the foot back down and switch sides. You can repeat what we just did, or we can do a little bit different now. So coming up onto the right toes, level the hips. Let's flex the foot. You're pushing down with that right heel. The toes are pulling up, and you level the hips out. Now take that right leg a little bit behind you, not too far. You're not back bending, and you're going to pulse it, pulse it, pulse it with the heel up, 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 up. Keep pressing into that block with that left foot. Then point the toes away and lift, 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 lift. Inhale, exhale, eyes still and steady. Dristi, gaze, important. Flex again, and let's lift, 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 lift. Squeeze into that glute. Each side of your body is working different muscles right now. Can you feel that? And then point and lift, lift. We got the maximus working back here. We've got the minimus on the other side. The medius on that same side as the minimus. Breathe. All righty. 2 times is plenty. Let's take it down, switch sides. We've got one more set, and you are all doing awesome. Always remember, you are enough. So whatever's good for you, You can rest in between, you can come back to it, you can skip it. Your right foot's on the block, you're on your left toes. You're gonna lift that left foot off the ground, flex the toes, push the heel down, and then take your leg behind you. And we'll pulse it, pulse it, pulse it. Squeeze the glute, pulse it, pulse it, pulse it. Squeeze the glute, pulse it, pulse it, pulse it. Nice. Okay, turn it into a point and lift, 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 lift. Beautiful job. If we need a break, we just take a break. You would just put your foot down, take a rest. You'll be ready to lift right up again, and let's take it behind us again. We pulse with the heel, pushing, pushing, pushing back, energizing through that right foot, pushing solidly through that block. So our right medius muscle, glute medius, is going to activate. Let's go to that point now. Last time, we've got this. Last time, zipping up, focusing the eyes, using the breath. Everything's engaging. We've got this. Soften through the shoulders. And it's time to bring that left foot down. Take yourself off those 2 blocks. Probably never want to see them again. And let's just swivel out the hips. Get into a deeper knee bend. Let those hips release. Bring them forward, side, back, side. Big swivel. Doesn't matter which way you start, we'll go both ways. So reverse it. So we've got to stabilize those hips by using our muscles. So that exercise we just did is to help the slack that can happen if your muscles are not strong enough. Your hip bone is not strong in the socket. So you've got to get that femur to move into the good position, into the ball and socket, by using the stabilization of the muscles. So let me see where we are at now. And alrighty, awesome job. We are moving on. 2 blocks are going to probably be necessary for most. So have them at the front of your mat. And you can either start this from tabletop or from down dog. So choose which one is your fit and start either table or down dog. And if you're in down dog, the pose looks like this. Pulling your hips up high, stretching your tail away from you, chin dropping to chest, shoulders relaxing. Take those upper arms outward. Take weight out of the hands by driving it all the way into the legs. If you're going to do the shape the other way, table looks like this. You definitely will want a blanket. And we from down dog are coming down to a knee as well. So have a blanket handy underneath you where your knees would lie. So I'm going to do the pose first here from the down dog position. Actually, let's start with the right leg. So I'll come onto this side. All righty, so right leg in down dog is going to lift up or it's going to lift out from table. Here's your down dog lift. Here's your table lift, okay? So if you're doing table, now the knee is going to bend and the hip is going to stack. If you're in down dog, it looks like this. From that stacked hip, hollow out those armpits, and we're going to clamshell that knee down, lift it back up. Notice the hip movement that you're getting here. We're going to do 3 of them. Lift it back up, and if you are doing the table, you can also now start that rotation of the knee in a big circle, like you're moving that knee up in a circle in the sky. Reverse that rotation. And then stretch that leg out all the way behind you, whether you're in dog or table. Press through the palms of the hands at the base of the thumb, the base of the index. And then that right leg is coming forward. So when it comes forward, it moves right between the hands, whether you came from table or down dog. Now my blocks are on the wrong side. If you want to use them, your blocks need to be on the correct side, all the way at the top. From this position, this is called runner's lunge. And you'll notice that you're getting right hip pulling back, left hip pulling forward. You feel those hips pulling into midline to give you that strength right through the center. Knee is over ankle. That's an important safety issue. Breathe here. Take a nice breath. When we're all ready, we're going to just drop that leg down in the back. It's called Anjaneyasana. We've got that leg lengthened out. You can push through that shin now. You can push through the top of your foot to help balance and pull that left hip forward and pull the right hip back. Breathe in, breathe out. Hands can be on blocks if you prefer. If you're moving on, hands are going to come off the blocks and they'll come up to your thigh. So now with the hands on the thigh, you want to push that thigh muscle away, but you want to pull that right hip back. So thigh muscle gets pushed away, right hip gets pulled back, left hip gets pulled forward. As you start to lift the left arm up to the sky, grab a hold of that block in the front and place it next to your hip on the right side. Then the arm comes down to the block at any height you want. If you're a little bit longer and more flexible, maybe to the floor as you stretch over the top. Take a look up toward those fingers. Breathe in, breathe out. Two arms will come back up. Focus the eyes, draw the navel in, lengthen the spine, pinkies in more than the thumbs. Take your arms into a nice saguaro 90 and let's back bend it. Let's lift it back up. Let's take that movement with those arms again through the shoulders. 3 times, down and up. Good. We lengthen all the way up to the sky. Bring your right arm forward. Bring your left arm backward. We're going to close this. We're going to open it. Close it. Notice the shoulder work. Notice the hip work. Right hip flexor is working very strongly. Left ones are being stretched. Next time it closes, lift the arms back up. That was an open twist on this side. Let's take 2 hands down to the mat or to the floor. Or to the blocks. Leave your right hand on the mat for a moment. Position your block for your left hand if you want to use it. Otherwise, left hand inside that right foot. Right arms out like a wing. Pull the right hip back as your left hip pulls forward and open up to your runner's lunge twist with your knee either on the floor or if you'd like, curl the toes under, take your knee off the floor and bring it up into your twist. Either one is fine. It's your choice. Try them both, see which one you like. Keep your knee in the front over the ankle. Cartwheel the arm back down. We can drop our knee back down as well as we move our right foot right. You're having 2 hands inside that right foot, so they are shoulder width apart. Your fingers are splayed wide. From the front, I'll show you this way. It looks like this. The outside hand is the left one. You're turning those fingers outward a little bit. This is kind of a tough shape, and if you have very tight hips, it can be tough. Elbows drop behind as you drop into the from the top to the bottom of your push-up. Feel free to stay at the top of the push-up, just get some strength. We've got 3 if you're doing them. Then if you want to drop your back knee back down, take it down, because we're going to come on to forearms. So you do have 2 blocks. If you want to use them, they're going to go underneath your arms. It will look like this. If you don't use them, it takes a little bit more hip mobility to get down to the mat with 2 forearms. Keep that knee up to the sky, keep that arm and calf muscle touching, and then roll out wide to the side. Pull it back in, roll wide to the side, pull it back in. Last one, roll wide to the side, and draw it back in. Now drop the knee if you haven't done so already. Work your hands back up. Work your legs a little bit closer. Bend into your back left knee. Reach around with that same hand. You can come back onto the forearm of the right and just pull that left heel in toward the glute. Pull it in, get a good quad stretch. When you can get that quad stretched, everything works together. So if you've got a tight part of your body, it's affecting different joints. So the tight quad is going to affect the knee as well as the hip. And then you softly release that leg. You bring yourself back up to your hands. I'm going to turn back forward here. And then if you're ready, you either go back into a downward facing dog, or you go back into your tabletop position. Press it out from table if you want. Take a child's pose. Down dog is considered a resting pose, so if you'd like to just stay here for a couple breaths, stay here for a couple breaths. We still have side 2. Are you happy about that? Hopefully you are. That means you've got a good attitude. You're ready to move on. We'll take that left leg up to the sky. So from table or down dog, come on up, push your hips, push your chest back to your thigh, draw your chin to your chest, look through your leg. Breathe in, breathe out, then you bend the knee, you stack the hip. As you open and stack those hips, you want to be pulling arms so that those shoulders are square to the front edge of your mat and both armpits are hollowed out to the back of the mat. Tap your knee down. We've got 3 clamshells. We've got 3, 2, and last one. Breathe in, breathe out. Pick that knee back up. Take it in circles, big circles, either table or down dog. Reverse that circle. Wake up those hips. Stretch that leg back behind you, whether you're in table or dog. Look forward to pull it all the way through. Left leg is coming forward. Breathe in, breathe out. And your right knee is going to come down to the mat. Soften. Hands are on blocks. Shoulders are relaxed. Square up those hips. And when and if you're ready, we can bring hands onto the thigh. Press that thigh muscle forward, pulling your left hip backward. So again, I'll turn around the other way to help you out with this one. Knee is over ankle. Press the meat away on that thigh muscle, pull the hip back. Feel the squeeze of two hips pulling closer together as you've got this long hip flexor stretch on the right. Can you lengthen and lift up out of the waist? Taking that right arm up to the sky, reach it high. Take that left hand to the block, bring it back, and two arms will lift. We take that left hand down to the block, take it all the way over, stretch out that psoas muscle, open up, breathe in, breathe out. Two arms will lift back up to the sky. We take a 90-degree arm. We open up into our back bend. Bring those bodies back vertical. You've got 90-degree arms. You're taking them down, lifting them up. Take them down, lift them up. Last time down, last time up. Reach it high. Sweep the left arm forward, right arm back. And close this. Open it and look back. Close it. Open it. Last one, close it. Two arms lift high, reach up. Two arms come low. Your choice about using a block inside that left foot for your right hand or placing the right hand on the mat. Take your left hip, pull it back. And then the arm comes out like a wing as you look toward the floor. You spin the spine to lift that arm up. You take a look up at the sky. Your choice about coming onto those toe tips, if you'd like, rolling off of that knee, lifting up high. Take a look back to the mat. Your arm comes back down. Your knee can stay up or down here as you move your foot to the left side of the mat. Two hands are inside. The right fingers are pressing down outward a bit. The left fingers are straight. We've got our push-ups, so let's drop it down, lift it up, or just hold here because that's a lot of energy too. That's a lot of stretch, that's a lot of strength. Third one, choose blocks or not as you fold down to the forearms. Breathe here, drop your head. Inhale, exhale. Knee can be down or not. Roll to that outer blade. Come back in. Outer blade all the way out there with that knee. Back in. Last one, breathe, enjoy this. Luxuriate in the stretch. Back into the sole of the foot. Drop that right knee down if it's not down already. You can come up onto two hands. As you bend into that back leg, grab a hold of that foot with your right hand to the right foot. Maybe you can fold back down to forearm as you pull that heel into the glute. Get that thigh to stretch. Get that body to relax. Soften into the shape. And then softly melt that leg back down. Come back onto the hands and bring yourself back either to table position or hands and knees. Or down dog from hands and knees. Stretch it back. Coming back down to the mat, we'll take one beautiful shape for our hips called Janu Shirsasana. We didn't get to all of what I planned, but it's getting time-wise. I guess I'll have to do another one of these, right? So Janu Shirsasana, we take legs to either side of the mat, bring the right foot in. So you have like a tree pose somewhere along your right leg. If you are very tight, you want to put the block or a blanket under your left knee. It does not have to be straight. Pull the flesh away from the sits bones. Pull the toes towards the shin, lift two arms high, rotate your body towards the right leg, and melt your body down. So what happens here is that we are seated bodies so often that we don't have the ability to relax and to strengthen what we need to do to our powerhouse area. So this is a pose that if you've got tight hamstrings, it's definitely affecting your hips. It's definitely affecting, you might have some discomfort in the thighs, in the groin, in the buttocks. So we use this shape to just melt and relax and breathe. So two arms are going to come back up high, the core is engaged, the hands will drop to heart. You stretch out the right leg and bring the left leg in. Again, you can put the block under the knee or a blanket under the knee if you're very tight through the hammy. We've got our body square to the front of the room, our toes flex to our shin as our arms lift. We move the spine by turning the spine and folding down over that straight right leg. Breathe in, breathe out. So I didn't get to the figure 4 shape or the pigeon shape. I was going to do one or the other, show you each of them. So if you want to do those, that would be a beautiful thing to add on to this sequence, would be asymmetrical figure 4 or pigeon pose. They're both wonderful shapes, but people have issues with pigeon, so figure 4 is a great option. Arms are going to come all the way back up, bring it high, bring it into your heart, bring your two legs long, and just for symmetry, take a nice seated Dandasana. Feel the tail go back, feel yourself lift out of the waist. Feel the shoulders drop down back and together. So we worked shoulder joints, we worked hip joints quite vigorously, stretching and strengthening. Now we tuck the chin, we round the spine. We're going to roll all the way back to our back. And as you perform a twist, which will be 2 knees up, take those 2 legs. Actually, let's just take the right leg in. Kick the left leg out, wrap the fingers around the right, pull it up and in toward the armpit. Bring it all the way to the left as you hike that left hip underneath you. Sweep that right arm out like a wing and look over your shoulder. So again, this is a piriformis stretch. This is really nice for the hip. There's a piriformis muscle that a lot of people have issues with, piriformis and sciatica. Do this stretch for yourself. As you find the peace with your eyes closed, release the stress and anxiety and let go of the tension of your body and your mind. Whether you've had a bad day or are feeling extra pressure from these chaotic times, the practice will allow you to let go of any negativity and bring you back to the peace and the grounding. Remember that your decisions today will define your tomorrow. As you pull that right knee back into the body, pull it towards your chest, and then lengthen it long. Move your body to the left side of your mat, pull left leg into the body, squeeze it toward the armpit, and then move that right hip underneath you as you take the left leg to the right, sweeping out the left arm. Open up, get the shoulder to curl underneath you. The hips are often metaphorically described as a bowl filled to the brim with water. It takes balance to make sure nothing spills. However, some of our life choices and habits, like wearing high heels, shift the body's balance and tips the hips forward. That will lead to an anterior tilt of your pelvis, leads to a lordosis, which is a scooping of the low back inward, and a posterior compression in the lumbar spine. So you're putting too much pressure in the forefront of your foot. Pull that left knee back into the chest. Let 2 legs come together. Give a rock side to side. Maybe take a wide V shape just to stretch out. Heels will go up, toes will go down. Hands somewhere on the legs. They can be anywhere from the inner thighs down to the calf muscles, down to the toes. And you want to turn those heels up, toes down, navel in, shoulders down your back. Two legs will come back up. Two arms will come down. Float your legs down by either straight legs, bent legs, sit on your hands. Whatever is best for you. Can protect your back, use your core. It's up to you to decide where is the best movement for you. And as you find Shavasana, each palm turns up. Legs separate from each other about as wide as the mat. Chin is softly tucked to the chest and eyes are closed. And as you lie here, I'll give you just a few more things to think about while you're in your Shavasana, watching your breath. A side effect of, let me go back to this. Sometimes things that seem harmless, like slouching on the couch, will tip the hips backward, and that leads to a posterior pelvic tilt. That gives you kyphosis of the lower back, like a rounding out, and an anterior compression of the lumbar spine. So posture is really important for seated, standing, and when we do yoga, we build the muscular strength and the awareness to find the posture in yoga shapes, and then bring that off of the mat. So we bring it to our lives. A side effect of practicing hip openers is a release of deep-rooted emotions in the body. Think of your mantra so that when you release these emotions, you're able to bring in the positive and let go of what's flooding you with emotion of things that you need to get rid of. You rid your body of that, then you bring that mantra in and fill that space with something wonderful. So your hips are considered probably the strongest joint of the body, except for your jaw's pretty darn strong too. But anyway, the hip is strong and it's very mobile, being a ball and socket joint. The problem with the shoulders mobility is it's too mobile without the structure. The hip's got the structure around it to stay more stable. So it's a safer ball and socket than your shoulder. So be careful with, always do arm movements so that you find where your range of motion can be its best. Find that the strength of the shoulder is important. And think about that supple hips can ease back pain, improve circulation, and give you a more agile gait. As you start to wake up your body, wiggle fingers and toes, ankles and wrists, and let's bring ourselves into our bodies again. Wriggle out the jaw, turn the head side to side. The breath is pulling the mantra in. The knees pull into chest. You wrap your arms around your legs. Give yourself a big hug and squeeze as you lay on your back, and think about loving yourself. And that's a great attitude as you come out of your practice to push yourself up to a comfortable seat from either fetal position, or you can do that little baby boat shape again to find that seated position. So we want to end our practice with kindness toward ourselves. Did you show that kindness towards yourself as you worked through these shapes? Investigating and finding out. Be very curious about your body. No judgment, no criticism, no expectations. Remember, you are here for you, not to prove anything to anybody, but to improve how you feel in your health and your wellness. Two hands come together. It was my pleasure to be with you today. What a wonderful thing to have open hips, open shoulders, an open mind, and an open heart. Find strength, find length. Pull it all together, take it off your mat, and let's have a wonderful day. In breath for our final chant of Om together. Om. My pleasure to be with you, yogis. Namaste.